Welcome to the Healing Chamber Podcast. This is Layla Rose. And so today the topic is millionaires don't use astrology, billionaires do. And this is actually a quote from JP Morgan, which I love, by the way, because I feel like most people are not aware of how many big corporations and billionaires use numerology and astrology in order to earn, save, and invest, because these are the three frequencies of wealth. And so what's interesting is that there's a certain level you can get to money-wise if you don't use astrology, right? That's why there's a lot of millionaires that have never used astrology or numerology at all. They've been using just the business laws, just in general. They've been, working hard. But there's a limit to that. And the thing is, once you step into the billionaire playground, there isn't this need to work hard anymore because you can master the art of outsourcing. I have a sore throat, but I still have to record today, so thank you for bearing with me. So once you step into the billionaire playground, there isn't this need to work hard. So the way someone can do that is actually pretty simple. When we look into our birth chart, when we look into the second house of our birth chart, this is the house of wealth. And what's interesting is that once we tap into that specific house in our birth chart, we get to see the unique energetic blueprint of our own birth chart. And what does that mean, basically? So what happens is that when people are too preoccupied by the physical realm, right? What they don't understand is that the physical realm is a direct reflection of the spiritual realm. So whenever something is not working in the physical, we have to look into the spiritual. And then as soon as the spiritual realm as soon as there's changes in there, then the change is going to appear in the physical. And there's obviously going to be a little delay. But that's how it works. Those are universal laws. So what happens is that if someone wants to increase their wealth, what they're going to do is they're going to look at their unique energetic blueprint in their chart. Because if they follow someone else's blueprint, that doesn't guarantee success. And that's why when I see a lot of coaches or mentors, selling these strategies, I'm always wondering, because I'm like, you're selling a strategy that worked for you, that worked for your specific business. So why do you think this is going to work for everybody? We all have different human designs. We all have different numerology. We all have different aspects in our chart. So whenever works for me, for example, doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for you. So yeah, there's a lot of different things to say about the whole billionaire frequency. But obviously, if we aspire to be a millionaire, we can also use astrology as well. But the reason why there is this quote is to understand that once we get past a certain point, we need to understand the basic laws of the universe. And that's what they teach, by the way, within Freemasonry, for example. That's why Freemasons have so much power over this planet, is because they understand the energetics, they understand how it works, and they do rituals, they do lunar rituals in order to amplify, because that's also something else. Billionaires understand that they need to work with the Gaia energy, the Mother Earth energy. We can also call it the goddess energy or the Holy Mother. This type of energy we work with is an expansive energy. It expands whatever you want. So that's why, for example, in Hinduism, the goddess Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth, right? And it's the same thing, like even with Hathor, in ancient Egypt, kings and pharaohs and warlords would worship her. And what that meant was that they would give offerings to these divine feminine temples. And because of that, this would amplify their own wealth. So this could be as simple as, if I can think of like a modern way to apply that, for a man, for example, to pamper a woman, to provide and take care of a woman. By doing that, you're basically leading yourself back to your heart and leading yourself back to your soul. And in return, your woman is going to amplify what you have, which is so interesting. That's why when I see a lot of men, withholding their resources because of their scarcity mindset, in my mind, I'm like, this man doesn't even know that if he would be more charitable and if he would give to the divine feminine energy, he would amplify what he has, right? Isn't it ironic? But I feel like that's usually the conversation I don't have with billionaires, because they understand that at a very deep level. So another way that we can understand that quote as well, when we use the word expansive, right? That's also a word that can be negative for most people, because they think, oh, this is so expensive, right? It's a lot. But billionaires understand that expensive mean expansion. So when you actually invest a big amount of money, especially when it comes from a place of love and satisfaction, because think about it, you're expanding something, you're amplifying something. So for example, if you're investing a large sum of money for you, and it doesn't feel right because, I don't know, it's scary, or it's coming from a place of lack, because you're like, oh, if I do that, I'm gonna have that, and then it gets transactional. When it comes from that place, you're just going to amplify that frequency, which is not the frequency we want to be in. And that's why when I see a lot of men and women, by the way, who are millionaires, who are in this scarcity mindset, because they always have this fear of losing everything. They always have this fear of having the IRS or the government, taking everything away from them. And by the way, I've seen billionaires with that as well. It's pretty rare, but you can also have people that are billionaires that have that, because again, money is going to amplify the core traumas they have. So another way as well to use numerology to expand our business is to look at our personal number month. And obviously each number has a different meaning. But what's really interesting is that I know, for example, in advance when I'm going to go viral, or when I'm going to have videos that go viral. And then what I do within those same months is that I look at my data and I take all the videos, for example, that I created that went viral within that month, because I knew that that was going to be a viral month. And then what I do is I just repost the same thing over and over. The things that work, obviously, and then that's how I've been able to grow exponentially within the past few months. But again, I've been using my numerology, and I've been using my second house's placement as well. And the last way to use it as well is to use your business birth chart. So when your business was created, was founded, the location and everything, with all the information, you're gonna get a birth chart for your own business. And then within that, you're gonna know exactly when it is time to invest, when it is time to spend, when it is time to withhold, writing down or signing, a contract, for example. So again, these are all different ways to use that. And what's really interesting is that once you get to that level, you don't have to work as hard as when you used to be a millionaire, because you get to work with the natural cycles of this planet. You get to work with nature, and it's almost like it feels like you're swimming with the current instead of against it. I feel like for a lot of millionaires, when they create their first million, that's usually the hardest one, right? Because we're swimming against the current. We're using the knowledge that we have. Usually it's not the right knowledge, and then we try to, like, fail our way forward. But then the second million is usually easier. So bottom line, the reason why billionaires use astrology while millionaires don't is because operating from the billionaire frequency is so much more than financial. It's basically you operating at the highest level of your soul, at the highest level of your own potential. You're in that zone where you've self-actualized, right? Your full potential. And now you're transcending your ego. That's usually the step that I help my clients with, because usually there's a phase where people are kind of lost because they're like, I've accomplished everything and still I feel, unfulfilled, or if it feels like something is missing, or I don't have love in my life, because that usually means we just have to get into the last step, which is transcendence. I'm sorry, my throat today. So yeah, transcendence is the ultimate step, which is also the 33rd level of Freemasonry. This is also the age that Jesus died. 33 is a big number, but that's what it means, and that's why there's this big connection with the billionaire frequency. So that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for bearing with me today with my sore throat. If you like this episode, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.